Then we move on to our section of concluding remarks. Of course, there's no conclusions to the guidelines, but I would like to invite again the classification societies to give us maybe a sum up of what is important and what would be the first step for the end users to take if they would like us outside the qualified project, of course, if they would also like to go on this road for qualification of hybrid joints. And I think we have a presentation from Luc MOUTON.
I'm going to leave Luke to talk about the concluding remarks, but from my point of view, it's really good to see that what we've spent the last few days working on is actually going to have some kind of application. Those 3 roadmaps that we just saw show applications that are ready right now to use adhesive joints on. So we're encouraging all of you now to start submitting your design cases for us, and we can get to work. As we've seen, there's a need for global decarbonisation, which means that lightweighting through the integration of composites is definitely where we need to focus our attention. And as Richard said, the ability to use their full potential without cutting holes in them for bolts means we're not losing any performance by creating these hybrid joints. In terms of concluding remarks, I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank all the partners for their contributions. So Luke and I may have written this mighty document that is the guidelines, but it's based on all of your hard work. Sometimes as a classification society, we feel a little bit like tax inspectors, is that you all know you have to have us, but nobody wants us looking over their shoulder. So we want to thank all of those of you that have given us a chance to work with you. It's been really reassuring to see Darwin, BAE and Parkwind all be willing to share their designs and knowledge and experience with everyone, and so that we're not hindered by issues of competitiveness. We wanted to thank you for your openness. Likewise, for me, it's been really useful to work with another classification society. Thank you for that, Luke. Ultimately, our aims as class societies are the same, and they're the same as the shipbuilders or any other end users, and that we're trying to push for safer, more sustainable marine and offshore endeavours. If we can keep working together as we have done in Qualify, I have a lot of hope for the future that we can push this forward. We also wanted to thank the academics and the modellers at M2I. We know it's been a really trying time with COVID closing down many of your institutions for long periods, but you've managed to produce great work, present it in a number of conferences and published papers, and this has really helped widen out the conversation outside of the Qualify programme. It means that we can harness the expertise of everybody that's involved in this conversation. Satara and Cedric, you've shown us that the hybrid joints have many potential applications and they're already gaining service experience. That really helps us build the business case for integrating these elements into our rules. So thank you for your work in surveying a huge number of key players. The work done on structural health monitoring has helped us focus the need to integrate monitoring at the design stage. It was really great to see the sea trials that Comms and Sens have been working on. In the UK at the moment, we're just drawing up a new programme of work with BINDT, the RNLI, several universities and NDE suppliers to try to push the ability to calibrate both NDE and SHM techniques. We're really keen to make sure that we don't do this alone. So Luke and I have already spoken about updating the guidelines for both Bureau Veritas and Lloyd's Register as we make progress in these areas. So we want to iterate that this is not it's a finished document as it stands, but it's a live document. So as things progress and move, we will keep adding to this. We're not just going to let it, like a lot of reports, just sit on the shelf and nobody ever reads it. Lastly, but by no means least, we wanted to thank Tatiana. For those of you who don't know, she's taken over the project halfway through when Jesus moved on. She's not only managed to keep us on track, but navigated us through a global pandemic at the same time. So thank you, Tatiana. We really appreciate all your efforts. I'm going to leave it to Luke now to give you some more official concluding remarks.
That's very nice. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Linda. So it's to me now to give you a bit of feedback on our views as classification societies. Linda and I about about this whole project. So as Linda said, classification societies, we are sometimes seen as a tax officer, but our role is indeed to accompany the owners, the yards and designers in their designs and new designs, in de-risking the project and the certification. So to do so, and what differs makes us quite different from a certification body and classification societies is that we produce, now you can go backward one slide, please. Yes. As certification body, we can, as classification society, sorry, we produce our own rules, which aims at de-risking and certifying your designs, but should be able to certify the state-of-the-art techniques and innovation. And as we saw today, the world of composite and adhesive is vast, and the possibility associated to it is even vaster. And I think the NATO announcement from this morning is really going that way. Can we go to the next slide, please? So we have in the end a very vast, next slide, vast world of composite. But where we standed at the beginning of Qualify was a lot of question. If you can, yeah. What kind of loads do I use? How do I estimate the strengths? Should I protect my joint? What about moisture? Should I use ductile or stiff adhesive? What about rust and corrosion? I have 1 million. I can go backward. If you have 1 million seconds, can I still use this adhesive? And what about defect? How does it degrade? What is the impact of quality of manufacturing? How about temperature? Can I inspect? And all that things. So that was a lot of questions, and what we intended was to, and what we tried, making a close collaboration between Lloyd Register and Bureau Veritas, was to study in depth these two joints of composite to metal, in the objective of finding the pillars for the reliability, and to try to find an equivalence with steel connection. In order to do so, it's an obvious and tremendous importance to team up with experts, because we cannot, of course, backward. I don't know why. We cannot, of course, master all these subjects, and you guys master so many subjects and brought great inputs into this thinking. So you can go to the next slide, please. Yes, thank you. So yeah, as Linda said, thanks again for all this work that you've been putting in this work. Then what we tried is to understand the working and the wheels of the degradation of the strength problem, so as to build relevant guidance that we try to gather into into the guideline. You can go to the next slide, please. But just one before. But the interest of the way Qualify was built was the fact that we studied two joints coming from Daman and BAE, which was completely different. We had a very tough ductile adhesive on one end with thick bond line, and a small bond line stiff adhesive on the other end. So that's two different, completely different options. So this was built in the project, and pushed us to build a guideline that is aimed to be open and ready to embrace different solution. And the way to do so is to build it on a goal-based structure. So that's all the ambition for the guidelines. We hope you'll find it interesting and readable. It's quite a large document, which will be delivered in December. The idea is to really define the requirements from a little bit of sky view, like a goal, more the goals than the actual prescriptive requirements, and so as to understand the mechanism and then define the roadmaps for the qualification. So you've seen the structure before. I'm not gonna go on it again. And please go to the next slide, next and final slide. So about the future, and for the as classification society, of course, we will continue to work towards certification for the application cases. So probably with Damen and BAE, using, of course, and obviously the experience and the knowledge that was brought in by Qualify. We want to use also this guideline to produce actual rules that can be directly used by our team. Also, within Bureau Veritas, will be done by developing. We are working already on the NR 613, which is about adhesive joint, and also we need to communicate within our teams so that to disseminate this experience that we got from Qualify. And also, and as I said before, it's very important for us as Classification Society to engage in such projects such as Ramses, FIDAC, FiberG, Fiber for Yards, Transbond, and all kind of things. And of course, of the example today of Qualify, so as to learn, and then we can restitute this learning from using under the form of guidelines and and further approvals. And also, and of course, the final objective is to accompany the owner, the shipyards, the designers with the new innovative projects. And that be it for me. Thank you very much. And I really join Linda and I thank everyone in thanking you, Tatiana, for the work on the project.
Thank you, Luke.
On the project.
Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Luke, for your kind words. I wasn't expecting so much attention.